All right, welcome to the Growth Show. You can start. Where this is episode 10, y'all. This is episode 10. So if you've not watched the previous episodes 1 to 9, season 2, what are you doing? What are you even doing? Go back and watch those episodes. We also want you to comment. We also want you to like. We also want you to share these episodes. If there's anything that resonates with you, don't hesitate to let us know. If you have questions based on what's coming up in the episode, comment below. We want to hear it. We read it. We want to support you and answer those questions also on an episode.
Yeah, and if you want to challenge anything that we would have said, also don't hesitate to give us the feedback. We like feedback over here.
So we are on episode 10, and our focus is really just continuing the conversation when bae is your business partner, or when your spouse is your business partner, business or ministry, because we're in both.
Oh yeah.
Right? And some people may not have the privilege of being in business together somehow, but they perhaps you are in ministry together. And so that's an important piece as well. The key is when you have work to do together as your spouse. Right? And so last episode we left off sharing the joys and the challenges of working with your spouse. Oh, my spouse.
Don't you just love working with me?
Sometimes.
Huh?
Sometimes.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
5.
Wow. Wow. Ask me the question now.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you enjoy working?
5.
Okay.
Tit for tat.
I think I enjoy it because, again, going back to our last point of belief, we believe that we have a purpose. And so that makes a big difference. However, we also talked about the challenges. You are very strong in your structure, and sometimes that annoys me. And sometimes it works because I need the structure.
Oh no, it works 90% of the time. That's not sometimes. Speak the truth now. It's not sometimes, it works 90% of the time, because that structure keep us on timeline, keep us with deadline, keep us focused, keep us on the mission, keep us not being all over the place.
It feels even from the structure of timing. We had a workshop the other day, and Glen is such a stickler with time. I like to keep things on time as well, but I'm more
carefree with time. And if you don't finish the content, you just good.
No, it's not that. It's not that if I don't finish the content, I'm good. It's that, okay, you know what? I am monitoring the time, and I'm monitoring what my students, what the people are getting. Sometimes we could have 10 points, and they really can't take 10 points. They could take 3. And so I am monitoring the time, but I'm also saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop at point number 3 and not point number 7, because that's where they at. And so that's the difference between me and you as well.
But that doesn't change the time. So you could do 10 things in the time, or you could do 2 things in the time. The time is the time.
Right.
And when we start going over time, we are also saying we don't have a respect for other people's time.
Yeah, I don't go over time.
Or when we start cutting back on content, because if we tell a company we're going to do X, Y, Z, and we're not able to do it, it can come across as if we're not delivering what we promised. And so I like timeliness. I like to make sure.
It varies. Yeah. It varies. I have more of a flow of how I create versus you. But anyway, we work well together, and I really think...
So you want to change that 5 now?
No, I think for the most part, we enjoy each other.
I'm going to change my 5. We work well together. Like I said in episode 9, once that finished product is done, we know what we're giving to the audience is something of quality. Yeah. And so I'm not going to take away from or focus on the bumps of getting there. I'm going to focus on we always accomplish the purpose.
I agree. And we don't buck heads every single time. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, the times when you give in to me, we don't buck heads. But when you don't give in to me, that's where the friction comes, because you're trying to resist the rest.
Let's go to the next point. So, we have to believe in what we're doing. The second point is build. Right? And so why build? Why is that an important part when you're working together?
Again, with us talking about the purpose and the mission, you always want to make sure that you are building and you're growing, right? And you're not only growing from a business standpoint, you also want to make sure you're growing in the marriage, because you could be doing so well in business, and the marriage taking a hit because we spend so much time. Somebody say like two ships passing each other in the harbor. We just going, and we doing the business thing, but the marriage is taking a toll. Or we could be going so much on the business and the marriage, and the individuals now start to take a toll. So how do we create that?
So it's a three-part approach. How do we build ourselves? What are we doing to build ourselves? Like, how am I building myself as Keshelle? How is Glen building himself as an individual? How are we pouring? How are we growing? Because, I mean, the work that we are doing requires us to be sharp, requires us to be, just great at what we do. And sometimes, and not sometimes, that involves us taking time to grow for ourselves. And then, of course, the marriage. How are we taking time to build the marriage? What does that look like? I know, we've fallen down off this, but it's something that we need to get back to.
Talk about that.
That intentional marriage building time, and we, Sunday afternoons, we would learn about elements about how we can improve the marriage. We would read, we would take a course, we would read a marriage-related book. We've fallen down because this man will come home and sleep after church. But that is something that we need to be able to do.
Did you just say that? You're trying to be intentional, right? Now, correct yourselves now before I do it. Correct yourself.
I don't have to correct myself.
Keshelle is the one who wants to come home and sleep after church. And we have all these things that we started doing and come up with so much steam, and then after months, like, basically, we're not doing the Gotham industry thing that we used to do. We are not going on the beach for the quiet walks that we used to do, because you become so consumed with work, right? And because I want to also support you, I step back so you can have that time to do what you have to do at work, because I know it's temporary. I know this is not something that is going to go on forever. But if I also don't call it, it can go on forever.
And this is why this part is so important, being intentional about what we are building, how we are building these areas. Because it could very well, and I agree, I mean, it is me, it ain't Glen. I agree, there's so much shifting that has happened recently. Sundays I want sleep. If you ask Keshelle to do something on Sunday other than sleep and other than family time, I'm not interested. And that's the season. I just want to take that time to have that sacred Sunday, as I like to call it. But if we keep doing that and we don't make time for building the marriage, we spend a lot of time building the business. We talk about that. If we don't make time to build ourselves, then of course that's where things begin to drift. Anything you want to add to that?
I just want to encourage persons who are married or who are partners and you're in business. Do not sacrifice your marriage for business. Do not sacrifice your marriage for church or ministry, because that's your first ministry. Your marriage, your family, that's your first ministry. And so you don't want to be so caught up in any one area that you're neglecting the vows that you would have made. And I remember walking into your office about 2 weeks ago, and I said to you, what I said to you?
You said, I remember the exact words, so you say it.
So I said to you, I see what you do, and I understand what you're doing in terms of work and all these other things that's going on. We ask for the abundance, and God is really giving us the abundance harvest, right? But sometimes when the abundance come, we don't know how to handle the abundance. And so I said to you, you know what, I don't want to say I was feeling neglected, because I don't think it was neglect. I don't think neglect is a strong word, but I didn't feel we weren't putting enough time into our marriage. Even though we were in the house.
Especially when we used to, in the way that we did, or we prioritized it in the past.
We fell off in the last month or two.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but it was as a result of work.
Yeah.
And I said to you, I don't want us to let it become the norm. I want us to be intentional about finding the time to put into our marriage.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's our first ministry.
Yeah. And I think it's such an important conversation to be having because life could happen. Life happens.
Yes.
It doesn't even have to be work. It could be
Yeah.
ministry. It could be
Yeah.
the business.
Yeah.
It can be the children. It can be family
Yeah.
situations. The point is, what is critical is having that awareness.
Yes.
To say, you know what? A part of us growing together as a marriage, along with all of the other responsibilities, we have to ensure that we're building ourselves, we have to ensure that we're building our marriage, and then we have to ensure that we're building the business or the ministry. If that is not happening consistently in those three areas, what needs to change? Who needs to ring the bell? All of that conversations need to have. And it could very well be this conversation is, look, this is a busy season. I need some grace.
Yes.
For the next month, for the next 2 months. And this is how the unbalance can look like for now. But we know that is the exception and not the norm.
Yeah, it's a conversation. And don't become offended if the person say they feel neglected. I didn't want to use the word neglected because I didn't feel neglected, but I also felt like we weren't putting enough time into the marriage, the conversation that we normally have. Mm-hmm. All right? And so if one partner comes and say that, don't get offended. Take it as an opportunity to pause and then to move forward. Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Yeah, that's good. So the third point is something that we've done very well. And then we've also, again, shifted. And I believe it's all about the growth and being very aware of the changes. And that third one is bonding. Mm-hmm. Bonding. And so bonding, how do we manage the two? Being married, having business, having ministry. We take time to bond. And bonding really is just knowing when to come together, right? Why is it important for you, Glen?
So the bonding for me is because we still learning each other.
Yeah.
We've been only married for 10 years, and so it's still a learning process. We're still navigating all of the difficulties and all of the elements of marriage, and so that bonding is critical, especially in this phase where we're building.
Yeah.
Where we have these goals that we're trying to achieve. It makes no sense to have all these things and achieve all these things, and then 15 years down the line, we are not together to enjoy it because we didn't take the time to bond with each other.
And it's important to note that the bonding, it has nothing to do with the business anymore. No. This is us coming together without the hats that we wear, spending time as husband and wife. Yeah. So that is an important part. And I believe, the couples who build together, the couples who believe that they have a purpose or believe in something greater. I think one of the biggest mistakes that in working with couples is we don't make time to bond together. Yeah. Right? And one of the questions that we want to always ask is, what will bond us together? Yeah. What will be that ritual or that action or that activity that no matter what, we're going to use this as a way to keep our bond together.
Yeah, because a lot of times we could be so focused on the kids, we focus on the bills, we focus on work, we focus on ministry, we focus on what we have going on in the neighborhood, in the community. And when you add it all up, there is nothing in that that's saying, what are we doing together to keep us together? Yeah. Outside of the kids, outside of work. What are we doing to enrich us so we can enjoy and like each other? And I think bonding helps us to like each other.
You still like me?
I like you. No, I really like you. And I have to really, really like you to work with you some days, but I really like you.
You go back there?
Because I look past I look past the bumps and look past the difficulties, and I'm like, no, what we're creating is bigger than the little bumps that we have to go through to create.
Absolutely.
And that's what I see.
So what are some of what are some of our bonding behaviors?
Oh, we have a lot. We have a list like this because we do a lot of things together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
traveling, we like eating out. We look for things. Just last week, you and I just went on the Bahama strip, and we we went there and we went in our tourist hut.
Yeah.
And so
we
rented we rented the chairs from the vendors on the beach. We bought the coconut and we bought the pineapple, and we bought these things that the tourists were doing, right? And we sat there and we had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
That was a part of our bonding, and it didn't matter the price they were charging. We just put ourselves in a tourist hut and we enjoy those things.
Yeah. One of the things that we do is the holiday walk.
Yeah.
Which is how we got on Bahama that day, that was Easter Monday holiday. So being able to say, okay, you know, on the holiday, every holiday, and it hasn't been every holiday recently, but on the holiday, we're going to get out of the house. We're going to walk the Bahama strip. Not work out.
Yeah, it's not a workout.
It's
It's a stroll. And everybody sees us, they be like, oh, pick up the pace. There's no pace here. This is a stroll.
And then we'll walk the beach. We'll get this
and we're talking.
Starbucks.
We're saying what went well for us. What can we improve? What our next move? What are we working on? And so we get a chance to just have conversation. You know?
Yeah. Another bonding behavior, and it's movie night. 8 p.m. Saturdays now, not during the week no more. I leave him on the week during the week, but Saturdays, movie night. Saturdays and Sundays, right? Dedicating time to movie night. That's a bonding behavior. Being able to say, okay, on these days, no matter what, we're gonna come together and watch a movie. You know, Glen picks a movie 90% of the time, but hey, that's another.
We're doing that. I thought we fixed that last year.
That's another episode.
We're going back to the past. I thought we fixed that last year.
You still picking the movies?
No, I don't. We fixed that.
We did?
I allow you to now control the remote. Remember that part? Where I control the remote because it's my TV that I won from the Run Flee Home. And so I allow you to use the remote. And so I loosen up my grip off the remote.
Okay.
What other bonding behaviors?
You tell me, they're the two. We've had some in the past, some have fallen off, and some we need to get back to, but those, what else?
And then you could create them on the spur of the moment. It doesn't have to be anything that is always so planned. You know, you could just get up one day and just decide, pack a bag and we're going X, Y, and Z. I remember a lot of time we used to just sit to the fish fry, and all of these things don't always take money on. We used to sit at the fish fry, we only had $20. And I'm talking about literally only at $20. And we would buy what? Clam salad and daiquiri and sit there and just share and just talk. You know? So it doesn't always have to be about money. Or we go for ice cream and
we also acknowledge 2 days in the month. And so we acknowledge the day that we met and the day that we got married. And so at least if nothing else happens that month, we know that on the 15th and the 23rd, we're going to acknowledge and we're going to do something that ties us together.
Yeah, and it kind of draws together. And I know some people are going to say, but what if you have kids and you can't do it? I promise you, that's why a community is necessary. Right? Your kids have grandparents, your kids have aunts, nieces, godparents, and so you want to be able to find that time to let those persons come in and help. And I know when your kids are at a certain age, you just don't want to trust anybody with them. I know that. But still, you have to make time because then you could cater to everything and everyone and not cater to each other.
And the point is, because we're talking about our spouse and how do we manage being in business with them. The point is, there's going to be times when one spouse falls off for whatever reason, right? Life happens, business happens, they need a break, whatever. So when we think of creating that bonding behavior, whose responsibility is it to keep the bond together? It's both of you. Yeah. So if like how you called me out on that, being able to be okay with being called out to say, hey, listen, we've fallen off on what we know that has kept us together, or what we know is important to us, to keep our bond strong, even as we work in business and in ministry.
And don't always let money be a problem. And I'm saying this because I've spoken to couples. I have one couple who said her and her husband usually go driving, but after the price of gas got so high, they stopped going driving. I'm like, come on. I understand in terms of you trying to save a few dollars, but
What are you losing?
What are you losing in the interim?
Yeah.
Make that sacrifice, and if that's the thing that keeps you in
enjoy.
the bond and that you enjoy, put that extra $10 in there and just drive.
Yeah. So y'all, this is really a sneak peek into how we manage our relationship, business, ministry. We looked at believing in your bigger purpose, believing in each other. We looked at building each other, building the marriage, building the business. And then we also looked at bonding. How do we make sure that we know when to come together with our hats off and just enjoy each other's company? Any final thoughts?
So we can enjoy both the boardroom and the bedroom.
Equally.
Equally.
Until next time, grow boldly.